Mets Musings is an unofficial, independent podcast covering New York's National League Baseball team. It is not affiliated in any way with Major League Baseball or the New York Mets.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of Mets Musings.
And hello and welcome to another edition of Mets Musings. Number 417. I hope you enjoyed last week's, or actually this week's. It's the second edition of Mets Musings this week. That was a special edition we did on Tom Seaver. Got my special Tom Seaver shirt. Probably should have had one on the other day, but just got the shirt so today. So we couldn't do that. But lots of stuff to talk about today. And that's why we're doing a show. End of the season. We are down to 4 games as we record this. 4 games with the Washington Nationals. In Washington, the Mets are done at home for the season. They travel to Washington to take on those Nationals for the last 4 games of this wacky 2020 season. I think they still have a outside, if you will, chance, but it's very slim to none that they can make the playoffs at this point. But the big news is what's been going on the owners front with the New York Mets. As you know, Steve Cohen has been came to an agreement with the Wilpons. He will be the new owner of the Mets, pending approval by 75% of the other owners. And they think they can get that. And the news breaking today, I think, is one that was meant to appease the other owners. And that is that he has hired, Steve Cohen has, Sandy Aldersen is coming back. It looks like he will be the operations manager and baseball president and baseball operations in charge of the day-by-day businesses. Here is a statement from Steve Cohen. If I am fortunate enough to be approved by Major League Baseball as the next owner of the iconic franchise, Sandy Aldersen will become president of the New York Mets, will oversee all Mets baseball and business operation. Sandy is an accomplished and respected baseball executive who shares my philosophy of building an organization and a team the right way. I am excited to have Sandy in a key leadership role with the Mets if my purchase of the teams is approved. Let's go Mets. Now, I know that I have been highly critical in the past of Sandy Aldersen. But I actually think this is not an awful move, and I'll tell you why. Let's remember, when Aldersen was here as the, I guess he was president before, and he was the GM, he had to deal with the Wilpons, and he came in after the Madoff scandal. There wasn't a lot of money, and there wasn't much he can do, so he had to go to the scrap heap to find players. Thus the nickname I gave him, Scrapping Sandy. This is different. This time he's going to have money to work with, and if he's overseeing the daily operations, I don't think he's going to be... He'll be involved in trades, but my guess is they'll hire a general manager to handle that sort of thing, negotiations and trades. He will probably have to give approval, but it's not going to be entirely him. And let's face it, his draft classes when he was here were very good. There was nothing wrong with them. We got Conforto. I think Alonso was him. Dom Smith was under his guidance. Trying to think who else may have been here. He did trade to get Syndergaard, and look, he traded for Wheeler, I believe. So there was some good here. He got us to the World Series and to the playoffs. So he did a good job as far as that go. The problem was that he kept going back to get these guys and off the scrap heap, as I have said, and said he'd go prove yourself, and he would sign a bunch of guys to cheap contracts, and it didn't work out. And it seemed like the art of the game had passed him by, but he will be coming in essentially an executive position, so that leaves a lot of it open, and I think it also sends a message to the other owners that Cohen is not going to go crazy spending money, that he'll have somebody to keep an eyeball on the money situation. So while he will increase the payroll, I'm sure, he's not going to go crazy like Steinbrenner did back in the day when he was running the Yankees, and I think that was part of the concern that the other owners had. And so Cohen's a smart guy. He's taking this precaution to put somebody that's been in the game a long time, that's well respected around Major League Baseball, and knows this organization, and putting him in charge of baseball operations. So while it's a little bit shocking to have Sandy back, it may be a good move for the new administration. Now the question is, does he keep Brodie Van Wagenen on as the GM? I would think not. I would think what they may do is bring in somebody that's promising, that has some experience, but maybe instead of him letting, a first-time GM, and they'll have Aldersen overseeing him, so to kind of guide him along a little bit and get his feet wet without just throwing him in like Brodie Van Wagenen did. And then, of course, the question is Rojas going to come back as manager? It was suggested to me by my good pal Barry. I think he wouldn't mind if I mention his name, but he said, half jokingly, but, if you think about it, it may not be a bad idea, that Terry Collins might come back as a manager for a year or two and have Rojas at his right hand, a bench coach and learning, and then possibly move into the manager seat in a year or two. Anything is open, being that we heard this week, it's still not a straight confirmation, but it sounds like Port St. Lucie and Syracuse and Brooklyn are going to be involved in the sale. So could that mean that Edgardo Alfonso comes back to Brooklyn? This is all going to be worked out over the next few months. It's going to be fascinating. But, of course, the big news right now is that Sandy Alderson's coming back. And another thing it does, it has somebody with experience in baseball meetings. The winter meetings will be here in a month and a half, 2 months. And that's where they'll vote on Cohen and all the owners sometime in November, I think. But the winter meetings are usually in December. But anyway, they'll have somebody of experience in a position of being able to make deals and whatnot, and can almost kind of take their time looking for a general manager. Again, they could keep Brodie on as the GM, whether or not he would want to do that, because it would almost be like a demotion if all of a sudden he's got to report to Sandy Alderson. Though he did report to Jeff Wilpon, and Wilpon was, I think, was basically the same title as Aldersen. Who knows? But Sandy Alderson's back. Steve Cohen's has got control now, and just waiting for the approval of the other owners. And I think this is a step towards getting that approval. Also, this week, news came out that all of a sudden, SNY could be a part of a deal once this deal is settled. So, and it looks like Cohen would have first crack, I would think, of it. Makes the most sense, and he would like to get his hands on that as well. So, I don't know why they didn't do it in the first place, unless they thought, well, I don't know what they could have thought. They could, they would have got more money for SNY. Why they didn't include it all in one big package, but I guess they thought by making it two packages, they'll get more money for it. That way will remain to be seen. But, that's the big news. Sandy Alderson's back. Steve Cohen is, I think, going to clean house. It won't be a large cleaning house, but there'll be some sweeping done and some dead wood cleared out, I would think. So we will have to wait and see. All right. In other news, let's face it, we're not going to make the playoffs. They need a miracle at this point to make the playoffs, even if it's mathematically possible. I don't think it's going to happen. Washington is not going to just lay down and get swept 4 games. And quite frankly, I don't think this team is good enough to win. I'm not convinced that J.D. Davis is a good talent. He had a terrific year last year, had a decent year this year, but now he can't buy a hit. And, we need him now, and he's not doing anything. Alonso struggled all year, had a home run the other night, RBI single, but he's not been nowhere near the hitter he was last year. Dom Smith has been terrific. Jeff McNeil has had a terrific season, but not quite enough to carry this team. And the bullpen's been atrocious. Starting rotation's been meh. DeGrom has been outstanding, but they don't always hit for him. And then after that, the pitching's been suspect, except for David Peterson. He shows sign of breaking through, and I think he'll be a big plus next year. I think this is good for him this year. I think he gave him some experience at the big leagues, gave him a taste, and, builds his confidence that he can do the job. Same thing with Andres Jimenez. Andres Jimenez has won the job at shortstop in my mind. He's outplayed Rosario. He's outhit Rosario. He's a much better glove. He's faster, I believe, than Rosario, though I never saw him run against one another. But so far, he's proven himself, I think, and really deserves a job. I thought Luis Guillorme proved himself as well, but in probably the most outrage of the year, they sent him down to bring in a pitcher, and the guy was up all year, was hitting 367, I think it was. And then they sent him down to bring in a pitcher because they had no room. And they kept Todd Frazier around, who's hitting 201 or something, and Guillorme, who could have played third, who was playing excellent second. He could have played shortstop. He gets sent down. Just a ridiculous move on their part, and one of the reasons that I hope that Van Wagenen goes. I mean, that was stupid. Some of the other trades now, we're finding out these minor trades that he made also have been flopping like big time. the guys that he traded are hitting the major leagues from the Mets now. They were minor leaguers, and some of them are performing pretty well. So it's just, you don't know what's going to happen, but it hasn't been a good year. It's been a wacky season, and I'll tell you the truth, I'm going to be glad it's over. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back after this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get a PhD in life through baseball? Welcome to Baseball PhD, a tour company for your brain. 30 major league teams, 100 places to see. Let's touch them all as we make the road trip of a lifetime.
Check out my Twitter page at MetsMusings1. And check out a Facebook group. It's at facebook.com/MetsMusings. Go check it out. And don't forget to call the hotline. It's 516-619-6341. Okay, and we are back. And actually, there's not too much to report other than that. What we've covered so far, so it's going to be a short show this week. Again, I hope you go back and listen to or watch even on YouTube the last episode of Mets Musings, which was my salute, if you will, to Tom Seaver, called Memories of the Franchise. I had some great guests on, Skip Lockwood, John Matlack, and Eric Sherman, all talking about Tom Seaver and their time with him. And before I want to go, I want to give a big shout out to Chris in Pittsburgh. Chris is let me see if I can find it, Neil. Chris, I can't find it right away, but Chris is a new listener, and he's originally from Long Island. And Chris, great to hear from you. And I hope you'll continue to listen and enjoy the show. All right, so that is going to wrap it up for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. And I want to thank you all for listening. And I hope that you'll go and subscribe to wherever you listen to the podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Play. I believe we're on Amazon now. They've got a new Amazon Music. They're having podcasts now. If not, we'll be on there soon. Wherever you listen to or watch the podcast, YouTube, hit the subscribe button. It helps us grow and bring in new listeners. So, until next time, and there will be a next time, the season will be over and the Mets will be going home, I would imagine, unless a miracle strikes. Remember to keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. And I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Musings.